In the name of God, the merciful, the loving, peace upon you all. Today I want to talk about how to become a Muslim, a mu'min, and a God conscious. If you guys remember from my last video, I spoke about my understanding of the story of Adam, which it has nothing to do with zina, adultery, or being naked, but it has to do with him realizing that he was capable of doing evil deeds, right? Or his evilness. And God says in chapter 2, chapter 7, verse 26, O children of Adam's, and we bestowed upon you a cover to conceal your not private part, it's to conceal your evilness, right? And the closing of being God conscious is best, right? Now, if we look in chapter 2, verse 38, right? God kicks out Adam from the garden, right? We said, go down from it, all of you, and when guidance comes to you from me, whoever follows my guidance, there will be no fear concerning them, nor will they grieve, right? So God kicks out Adam and he tells them, you follow my, once guidance comes to you, follow it and you'll be good, right? And actually, if you look at chapter 1, verse 6, chapter 1 is basically a dua made by a group of people, uh, praying to God, saying, guide us to the straight path. Ihdina sirata mustaqim. And in chapter 2, verse 2, God, answers that dua by saying, this is a book there is no doubt in, a guidance for the God conscious, right? And then God goes on describing, defining who are the Mutaqeen, who are the disbelievers, and then you hit you hit verse 21, and this is the first command in the Quran, right? Ya ayyuhal nas, O people. So God is talking to everyone here, right? Whether you're a believer, disbeliever, polytheist, or a person who is seeking truth, right? A'buduwa rabbakum. Okay, so abuduwa here doesn't mean to worship, all right? The noun form of abuduwa is abd, and abd means to be a slave, right? And what does a slave do? What's his function? He is he serves, right? So when God says abuduwa rabbakum, serve your God, right? My mouth is not very good today. Okay, serve. That's better. Serve your God, right? Rabbakum. No, Rabbakum doesn't mean to be. It doesn't mean your Lord. It means your caretaker, right? This is the core meaning of Rabb, is someone who who is your caretaker, right? And actually, this is a good to note. In chapter, I believe it was 379. Oh, it is. Okay, there you go. Here, this is one of my favorite verse. So this is a bit of a side note. It is not for a human that God should give him the scripture and authority and prophethood, and then he would say to the people, be servant to me rather than God. But be, okay, this is where the translation, mistranslation happened. But ولكن كونوا ربانين, right? Be caretakers, بما كنتم تعلمون, right? بما كنتم تعلمون الكتاب, of what you know of the book. وبما كنتم تدرسون, and what you have studied, right? So now God is technically commanding all of us to be a student of the Quran. And you know how, like, many Sunnis say, oh, you cannot understand the Quran without tafsir and without scholars and whatever. Well, here in this book, in this verse, is telling us to, keep your knowledge, right? Be caretakers of your knowledge, the knowledge we gain from the book and what we study. So we obviously have to put some effort. Every individual must put in an effort to learn about this deen, right? To learn about what God spoke in his books. so that anyway, let's go back. Um, where were we? Right. Ya ayuhan nas abadu rabbakum. Right. So serve your caretaker, who created you and those before you, uh, so you may become God conscious. So righteousness is mistranslation, right? So I pulled up all the verses that says la'allakum tattaqun, right? And I think there was like maybe 5 or 7. Uh, I'm not gonna show them all. Actually, I could show them all. It's kind of through here. Uh, O mankind, and then yeah, you have this one, and there is a legal retribution in life, O people of understanding, that you may become again la'allakum tattaqun. O you amanu, decreed upon you siyam as decreed before you, so you may become God conscious. And warned by the Quran, those who fear that they will be gathered before their Lord. For them besides him will be no protector and intercessor, so they might become God conscious, right? So again, you want to become God conscious. You warn by the if you want people to become God conscious, you warn by the Quran, right? By what God has sent down. And moreover, this is my path, which is straight, so follow it, and do not follow other ways, for you will be separated from His way. This has He instructed you, that you may become God conscious, right? So it looks like in order for us to become God conscious, we have to serve God. How? By following the commands in the Quran, the instructions, or warn ourselves with the Quran, or whatever book, not whatever, and other books that God sent down. Now, like I said from my last video, I don't believe in the Bible. I don't believe in the Old or New Testament, because yes, there is some truth in there, but I believe if you read them, they will influence our understanding of the Quran, right? Like some people believe that Jesus doesn't have a father, just because the Bible says so, right? And actually, I'm gonna make a video regarding this. But even about the resurrection, it's I read this paper, and it says that the virgin birth rests on a very slim historical foundation. So the Bible is kind of like the Hadith books in Islam, right? They rest on a very slim historical foundation. The Hadith books rest on hearsay, uh, and the Bible, at least the New Testament, it's also written like what 80, 70 years after, or maybe published or compiled, depends on the word you use, right? But the historical foundation is weak, it's daif, what the Arab would say, right? So it's kind of like, it's very difficult for me to believe in a virgin birth, but that's a video I'll make. And of course, if you believe in a virgin birth or you don't, it doesn't make you misguided, right? It's just the style of you reading. If you're more of a man of science or man of logic, yeah, you try to kind of be, you judge the Quran via the science we have today. Unless if we find a paper where a woman gave birth to a female or a male without being impregnated by a man, right? Then of course that would change my understanding. But there is a way we can read the Quran where it shows the virgin birth is not possible, or Mary had a husband, right? Anyways, I'm getting sidetracked here. Where were we? Right. So to become Mutaqin, right? So now here, this verse, Ya ayyuhan nas, God commands humanity, right, or people, and then the next verse was 178, 179, right? The next verse of how to become God conscious, following the there is for you the legal retribution of life. If you go 178, it talks about prescribed for you the legal retribution, free for the free, the slave for a slave, female for female, etc., right? But if you look, here it starts with Ya ayyuha allazina amanu, right? O you mu'mins. So now God shifts from all you, all you people to all you mu'mins. Now my question was, oh, does that mean all people are mu'mins, or is there like a rank in in Islam, right? In the book of the Quran, right? And I believe there is a rank. It's kind of like college, right? There's freshmen, sophomore, junior, and seniors, right? And if we go to chapter, what was it? 49:17. Bismillah, 49:14. Okay, 49. Should have just read it from there, right? 14. قالت الأعراب آمنا. All right, and Al-Arab came to Prophet Muhammad and they said, Amanna, we are mu'mins, right? Say, no, you, كل لم تأمنوا, you don't, you are not mu'mins, but say you are aslamna, right? You have peace, you're at peace with God. Aslamna, ولما ولما يدخل الإيمان في قلوبكم الإيمان, right? Okay, so basically the first step of entering Islam, the Deen Islam, is you become a Muslim, right? You don't say we are mu'mins, right? You say we are Muslims, and after Iman enters the heart, right, you are a mu'min. Now, how do you know that the iman entered your heart? That's that's your personal judgment. But I do believe there are verses in the Quran which tells us who are the mu'mins. Verse 23, maybe, chapter 1. Okay, قد أفلح المؤمنين, right? The mu'mins are successful. They who are darling their salat are humbly submissive, yes, and they who turn away from ill speech, and they who observe zakat, etc., etc. So God tells us, and those who guard their private parts. So God defines who are the mu'minins, right? Now, but to become a mu'min, iman. Now, the way I define iman is a person who, no, once iman enters the heart, it's iman there is security, right? That is the core meaning of iman, or amana, right? When it's in a verb form, it becomes actually, let me show you. Why am I even? I have to show you, right? This is why I'm doing this. In the verb form, man, there's so many imans. Secure, you see that? Secure. And when you are secure, right, or felt secure, feel secure, in the verb form, it means to feel secure, right? So the noun form, it shouldn't be to believe. Now, yeah, the definition to believe, accept something as true, feel sure of the truth of. But you know who else accept something? Let's say accept God as true. The shaitan, right? Like by definition, if we look at okay, this one, yes. If we look at this verse, why can't I get my favorite? Oh, it's right here. Their parable is that of shaitan when he says to the man, disbelieve, but when he disbelieve, he says, the shaitan, I am quit of you. Verily, I fear Allah, the Lord of the universe. So see, the shaitan is also a believer. He fits the category of being a believer. He accepts God as true, but never ever does God call him a mu'min in the Quran. You see that? So that's why I think believer or believe is a bad translation for mu'mins, because mu'mins is only for I don't want to say people, because it's not only limited for people. It's also could be applied for the jinns, and jinns are just, they're aliens, different entity, right? Because they're made out of fire, or we're made out of mud. So it's a different species, right? Where were we? Right, Iman. So mu'mins are for anyone who not only believe that God exists, but also follows the commands in the Quran, right? And here's a challenge. Throughout the Quran, all the commands are for the mu'mins, right? Ya ayyuhallazina amanu kutiba alaykum as-siyam, right? Or you believe, or you mu'mins, siyam, abstaining is decreed upon you, right? Even why am I even trying? I can just show you the commands, the duties of mu'mins, right? I'll share this link. So I took all the verses that says, "O you mu'min, O you amanu, O you amanu, who amanu, consume of the good things we have provided for you, and be thankful of God." See, all the verses is for amanu, those who are mu'mins, right? You will never find one command for the Muslims. You will never see, "Oh, you Muslims do XYZ" in the Quran. I mean, that is a challenge. I challenge anyone to find me one verse that says that, right? Uh, and I think that's very interesting, because most of the commands, because, okay, why? Okay, the first verse that I showed was, Ya ayyuhan nas a'budu rabbakum, O people, serve your God, serve your caretaker, right? But then God shifts to mu'mins. So in order for you, so God is still talking to you, right? In chapter 2, verse 21. God is still talking to you, but not in a state of just a normal person anymore, right? He's talking to you once you become mu'min. Once that, okay, so if this is a person, right? Let's say this is me, right? I don't know anything. I'm just a seeker of knowledge. I'm trying to know, the truth, right? I see this verse. Okay, God is talking to me, right? And then I connected with 49:14 when it says, when the Al-Arab say we are mu'mins, and God tells them, no, you're not yet. You are Muslims at first, right? So once I become a mu'min, right, then God starts talking to me by saying, do the siyam, do the salah, give the zakat, etc., right? Not even when I'm a Muslim, he doesn't tell me anything yet, right? But once that security enters the heart, I become a mu'min, right? So there is here the first level where we're just born on this earth. Now, okay, this is a good point to make. Chapter 7, verse 178, right? 172, actually. Right? And mention when your Lord took from children of Adam, from their lines, their descendants, and made them testify of themselves. Am I not your Lord? They said, yes, we have testified, right? And the word for testified is shahada. Shahadna, right? We bear witness, right? Lest you should say on the day of resurrection, indeed we were aware of this, unaware. Indeed we were of this unaware, right? So basically what this verse says, that before we came into this realm, into this world, we were alive, and we bear witness that there is no God but God. So we already took our shahada. Now in this world, whether you became an atheist, let's say you never, the Quran never reached you, right? Or the Bible or whatever. You have no knowledge, right? And you became an atheist or a polytheist or whatever, you became an agnostic, right? These people already took their shahada. Okay, so there is no requirement. There's no shahada in the Quran, because we already did that, right? And before we came into this realm, right? And some people would argue that, oh well, we can't do the shahada now because God says it's the truth, and I believe in God. So if God says it's the truth, I can bear witness to it, right? But this is where it goes wrong. Not goes wrong, but here in this verse, right? It shows that shahada, you have to be present at the time and place, and you have to see it, right? And you, O Muhammad, were not on the western side when we revealed to Moses the command, and you were not among the al-shahidin, the witnesses. So obviously, just because God was telling Muhammad the story of Moses, right? Muhammad cannot say, okay, ashhadu, I bear witness that this story is the truth. He can't say that because he wasn't there. He wasn't there at the time of place, time and place. He wasn't present, right? Same thing with adultery. If two people did adultery, God says, bring four witnesses, bring four shahada, right? Just because, if I had a co-worker, let's say I had a best friend who bear witness, he actually saw, I don't know, X and Y doing it together, right? But he saw them, but I wasn't there. I don't know, I was in the hospital, God forbid, or I was eating in my home or whatever, right? Just because my best friend observed it, he's seen it, I cannot say, I'm gonna also do the shahada because I trust him, right? I can't do that. It's not allowed. I have to be present at the time and place when X and Y did it together. So that's, in my understanding, how shahada works. So there is no requirement for shahada to enter Islam, right? In order to become a Muslim, all you have to say is Aslamtu Rabbil Alameen. I am at peace with Lord of the Universe. Rabbil Alameen, Lord of no, not Lord, the caretaker of Alameen. Okay, so the problem is I don't believe Alameen means the world, right? It means the knowledge. The core meaning of ilm is knowledge. So when you say Rabbil Alameen, in my understanding, you're saying the caretakers of the knowledgers, right? A lot of Arabs disagree with me, but I'll make a video regarding that, inshallah. I'm just trying to finish this one. So, where were we? So, oh yeah, the picture. Is it still there? No. Okay, so basically, right, we start out, we already did our witness, we did our shahada when we were born, right? That's the first step. And the second step is to become a Muslim, right? And okay, this is a good point to make. A Muslim, the word Muslim comes from the roots of salam, right? Salam means peace. Salam, right? Peace. Okay, this is the core meaning, right? Now I go by the core meaning. Islam, right? It's literally the deen of peace, right? Because, right? So it also means peace, right? But this is deen. Okay, and Muslim, right? Muslim also means peace, but this, okay, so what's the difference? Salam is peace, Islam is the deen. So think of it like this. You have Christianity, okay, you have Christ, right? You have Christ. The deen of Christ is what? Christianity, right? Whatever. No disrespect. I'm not being disrespectful. I'm just trying to be fast. Okay. If a person joins this deen, Christianity, he becomes a Christian, right? So you see the trend here. It's the core meaning. It's centralized around Christ. That's the point, right? A female name for Christ is like Christina, right? It's all centralized around this concept of Christ. Same thing with Salam, Islam, and Muslim, right? So when you say Aslamtu Rabbil Alameen, you're basically saying I am at peace with the caretaker of the knowledgers. Or let's just say, Lord of the Universe, whatever the common translation say, just for now, right? But the point I'm trying to make here is Muslim is a person. Basically, if you're agnostic, right? So agnostic is he rejects all God, but he does believe there is one God, an engineer, right? And he's at peace with him. So what does it mean to be at peace with God? In my understanding, to be at peace with God, it means to just you accept the laws of nature, you accept the environment you're born in, the social status you're born in. You know, if your dad died when you were 14, or you never seen your dad, or you've never seen your mom, or whatever there is, whatever your situation is, you're at peace with it, right? Because that's what God did, right? God designed you in this situation. He puts you in this situation, and whether it's fortunate or misfortunate, you are at peace with it, right? Whether you see a beautiful flower, or God forbid you get hit by an earthquake or thunder, you're at peace, right? Like I mean, I get it, right? But it is what it is. This is the world, the realm that God designed, right? There is bad and good. There is destruction and construction. There is poverty and there is riches, wealth, right? Bad and good. So we are at peace with it, right? Whatever happens, right? And this is my understanding of how to become at peace with God, is just being at peace with the world you live in, right? So once that we work on that and we become at peace with our environment, with the laws of nature, and we accept it is what it is, right? The next stage is you become a mu'min, right? And that is when security enters the heart. That's how God defines it in chapter 49 verse 14. And that also takes time. Okay, it doesn't. Well, okay, I do believe some Sunnis, or many Sunnis, Muslim, are mu'mins, because they hear the Quran and their heart, humbles. And I think this is one of the signature of being a mu'min. Actually, let me. I'm supposed to remember those verses by heart, but I never do. The mu'mins are those who, when God is mentioned, their heart becomes okay. It doesn't say fearful, does it? I'm pretty sure it doesn't say fearful. 8:2. Kulub wagalat. Okay, yeah. Wagalat doesn't mean fear, but I don't know how to translate this word. I don't know, because khawf is fear, and it doesn't say khawf. It says wagalat, their heart. وَإِذَا تَلَّتْ عَلَيْهِمْ آيَاتِهِ. Oh, and when the verses or the evidence are recited upon them, زادت إيمانا زادتهم إيمانا, right? Their iman, the security, right, increases. It's not their faith increases, right? Like, oh my God, I'm becoming more spiritual. No, you're becoming more secured, right? And I think many Muslims, Sunnis, have that, right? I see it in many Sunnis, and so I believe many people are already mu'min. They just don't know it yet, or they don't claim the title because they think it's oh my God, the audacity, right? Like, oh, you to be a mu'min is like you're calling yourself holy or sinless, or you don't do evil deeds. And no, mu'mins can do evil deeds. Actually, let me show you exactly where. Okay, this chapter 3 verse 133. Ya ayyuha allazina amanu, right? Do not consume usury, etc., etc. Be and fear the fire. وأطيعوا الله والرسول, and obey God and the Messenger, and hasten toward forgiveness. Okay, here you go. And hasten to forgiveness from your Lord, and the garden as wide as the heaven and earth, prepared for the Mutaqin, right? The God conscious. Now look at the next verse. Who spend darling ease and hardship, and who restrain anger, and who pardon people, and God loves the good doers. 135. And those who, when they commit an immorality or wrong themselves, remember God, seek forgiveness for their sins, and who can forgive sin except Allah, and who do not persist in what they have done while they know. See that? See, it starts out with الذين آمنوا, يا أيها الذين آمنوا, do XYZ, right? And it's still continuing, it's still talking, uh, still talking about them, right? Who are spending? Those who are mu'mins, right? Who are uh, hastening to forgiveness, the mu'mins, right? So mu'mins can do sin, and as long as they remember God and they ask for forgiveness, and of course make up for their sin, right? So let's say you stole $10 from McDonald's, or you stole a meal or something, right? And you felt guilty afterwards, and you go back to the store and like you pay back, and you say, hey, I did this, and here is the money or whatever. I'm using a really bad example because I'm not good at giving example on my toes. I'm not good at thinking on my foot sometimes. But the whole point is, mu'mins can do evil deeds, right? And the whole point of God being merciful and forgiving, a forgiving God, is we are sinning, right? That God acknowledged that we are sinful, whether we are mu'mins or not. We gonna fail because humans have the ability to do evil, or they are evil in nature. We are evil in nature, right? And we will fail. Sometime we will slip, but it's not the end of the world. You don't say, well, I slept, so I'm not a mu'min. No, mu'mins can slip, right? I believe there could be other verses. Let me see. Hold up. Yeah, so another example is Ibrahim, when God, told him, "Do not ask forgiveness for your father." Right? That was a command, and what did Ibrahim do? He still did it, not because not because he wasn't a mu'min or a Muslim at that point, but he did it because he's human. He's humans fail. So that's the whole point. Being a mu'min doesn't make you holy or a saint, like Saint Paul or Saint Lucas or whatever the saints the Christians have or I heard of. Yeah, right. It doesn't make you a purified person. Nowhere does it say that. There's a bunch of verses about forgiveness. God forgives. It's used 234 times. That's interesting. 234. Right, and what's the point if God forgives? Like, God cannot forgive the mu'mins. Mu'mins are not in a high standard than anyone else. I mean, the only status they have is the security enters the heart, right? So the way I define mu'min is someone who is secured, right? When he thinks about God, he's secured. When the verses are recited on them, they feel security. And I bet a lot of people already feel that, right? But they just cannot claim, they don't want to claim that title because maybe how Islam is perceived is like, oh, being a mu'min is some sort of a high status or something like that. But please, like, read the Quran and look for God forgiving mu'mins when they do mistakes, or even Prophet Muhammad when God told him to marry his ex-wife of son, not stepson, the adopted son. He had a son, and God tells him to marry his ex-wife, and he was afraid of doing it because he feared the people more than himself, more than God, right? And God calls him out on that. Another one is a good one, 5, chapter 5, verse 87, right? O you amenu, do not prohibit the good things Allah made lawful for you, and do not transgress. Indeed, God does not look the transgressor. So here is a clear-cut verse for the mu'mins, right? And Muhammad is a mu'min, right? A lot of people believe Muhammad is like he has good behavior or good attributes, and we have to copy him, right? Yet in chapter 66, right? O Prophet, why do you prohibit what God made lawful for you, seeking approval of your wives? Like literally, he disobeyed God when when God clearly tells the mu'mins to not prohibit the good things, right? And he does it anyway. Does that mean that's it? He's not a mu'min. Muhammad is not a mu'min. No, he's a human being, right? Humans will fail, and that's why God is merciful and forgiving, right? So I think I made that clear. Mu'mins can do sin, and once they realize it, they ask for forgiveness and they do not persist in it, right? Unless, I'm not gonna say I didn't persist in sinning when I was young, because I had to go through depression, I had to go through lust, I had to go through uh, what's that term when you eat a lot of food and you can't stop eating? Yeah, I had to go through that too. I had to go through a lot of things, and I get better by years, right? It's like you're trying to better yourself, right? Uh, to get closer to God, right? Yeah, I do, once in a while I lie or do something or lose my temper, but I cool down and ask for forgiveness and I try to make it right. I apologize to people who I disrespect or wronged, and I try to amend, right? Um, so, and everyone should do that, right? It just, you shouldn't be ashamed to be a mu'min and you're sinning at the same time. I mean, unless if you can find me a verse where it says mu'mins are they're sinless, uh, right? And also, when it comes to guidance, right? You can be guided and a mu'min, but you can still increase in guidance, right? Let me pull that up for you. I want to make a video about guidance actually, because guidance is kind of like there's two phases of it, right? You get guided, right? And once you receive the guidance, you can increase in guidance. Where are we? Shahada General. Resurrection, numerical. Increasing guidance, there you go. Uh, okay, here God says the first thing. And God would not let people astray after he guided them until he makes clear to them what they should avoid. Right? So if God tells you, if it make clear for you, do not eat XYZ, and it's a clear cut command and you understood it, right? Then you avoid doing that, then you're guided, you're good, right? He does not misguide you, right? Until he makes clear. After he has guided you, them, Allah would not people astray after he has guided them, right? Another one is, and those who are guided, he increases them in guidance and give them taqwa, consciousness, right? God consciousness, being God conscious, not righteousness. You see that, right? Who are guided, past tense, they are already guided. He increases them in guidance, right? So there is, it's kind of like, you first turn on the music, and then you increase the volume, right? Or you turn on the car, and then you can speed up, increase the speed, right? Or so it's kind of like, the first step is either you're guided or misguided, 0 or 1, right? And then the second one, from 0 to 100%. It's like a bar you can fill. It increases in guidance. And we also saw a verse where when the mu'mins are recited, when the verses of the Quran is recited to the mu'mins, they increase in iman, right? Increase in security, not faith, right? And I already spoke about why believer is a bad translation for mu'mins, right? Because the shaitan is also a believer, right? So where are we? Okay, right. So we talked about how to become a Muslim, right? You are at peace. So you're basically an agnostic. You believe there is a God, and you're at peace with the environment, with the laws of nature, everything that is happening in this realm, and that's how you become at peace with God, right? Because God designed this realm. He's the one who designed hurricane and tornadoes and earthquake and and fire and whatever, everything that is bad and good, or what we define as bad and good. Thunder and lightning. He already does. He designed those, and we have to be at peace with that, right? And then when you're at peace with the universe, which is not okay, you get what I'm trying to say, right? Once you're finished being a Muslim, you say Aslamtu Rabbil Alameen, I am at peace with God. Okay, because I went through a phase where I said, oh, why God allows kittens to be beaten up, or animals being abused on the street, or women getting raped, and you got like war and slavery and all that crap, right? Why did he allowed it to happen? He designed the universe to allow that to happen, right? But I can't blame him, right? You know, it's just, yeah, I have to be at peace with it. It is what it is, right? This is our test, the trial. Who's gonna punish God? No one, right? And then you become mu'min when security enters the heart, right? So it looks like we have to work on our heart. And then when we become mu'mins, God starts talking to us, right? Do the salah, siyam, zakah, do not prohibit the good thing that God made lawful for you, give charity, uphold justice, speak truth, serve one God, etc., etc. Why is that? So we can become God conscious, right? To be a Mutaqi, right? So basically, you got so you got we're first born as God witness, Jehovah witness, Allah witness, whatever you want to call it, right? And then we become Muslims, right? And then we become mu'mins to become muttaqin, God conscious. Race, that's good enough. To become God conscious, right? And yeah, that's basically it, really. And this is like a journey, right? It's not, you can't like say, okay, 1 day here, 3 days there, 4 days. It's not like that. It takes years and years, right? It's gonna take years of man versus self, and man versus nature, and man versus I don't know other verses, but it takes a lot of we need to work on ourselves, right? If we're battling depression or anxiety or fear or whatever we're doing, whatever faults we have to work on those, right? Eat healthy, work out, get an education, spend on the poor, spend in the way of God. I don't know how yet, but I'm trying to figure this one out. um, do your donation, purify yourself, etc. And there is one more term actually that I want to share with you, and it looks like this is just like an extra credit status, right? And you'll never attain the good. Okay, so here this is Mr. Okay, what I'm trying to point at is al-birr, right? Al-birr. Okay, so this is a status like we can obtain. Okay, and ولن تنالوا. Okay, so yeah, so we won't attain this status al-birr. I don't know how to define it yet until تنفقوا spend مما تحبون, until you spend with you spend from what you love, right? So once you give up what you love, right, you get this extra status called al-birr, right? So I'm still working on this one, and I thought that was interesting. وَمَا تَنْفُقُوا مِنْ شَيْءٍ فَإِنَّ اللَّهَ بِهِ عَلِيمٌ. Oh, and you don't spend in anything unless God knows of it. Right? And the thing with the al-birr, chapter 3, verse 29. Okay, the thing with the word al-birr, right? It's also, see, they're just so late, like low effort. They also translate it as righteousness, right? But the way I see al-birr, it's kind of like it's the same status as al-muttaqi, right? From my analysis, it's kind of like you're talking to a person who is Mutaqi and Burr, but the only way you get the extra status is by giving up what you love, or you are spending from what you love. Um, it's kind of like, think of it like the Quran, right? The Quran is a book. It's hikmah, wisdom, right? It is light, guidance, zikr, right? Actually, let me show you a good verse. Is it chapter 2, verse uh, wisdom? Uh, Trying to show you something interesting. يعلمكم الكتاب والحكمة. Not this one. Give me a second. I'll be right back. Hello, I'm back. So here, this verse. Um, okay, so if you read, and then it says, and do not take the verses of Allah in jest, and remember the favor of God upon you, and what has been revealed to you of the book and wisdom. Now, a lot of Sunnis will say, aha, the book is the Quran, and the wisdom is the Sunnah, right? But يعزكم, he instructs you by it. See that? See, if it's two different things, it would be bihuma, right? But it says it. It here is the Quran, right? The Quran is kitab and so close. It's kitab, al-kitab, and al-hikmah. These are two attributes that are given to the Quran, right? Just like God, he has many titles. He has Rahman, Rahim. No, those are two same words. Ghafur. Okay, so he's a merciful, forgiving, loving. And the other, I don't know names. I can't think of them right now. Right? Justice. Etc. Right? So that's the way I see. It's the same thing. How I see al-birr and muttaqin. Right? Al-birr and God conscious. I think they are the same title. They're the same. Okay. Once you achieve this, all you need is to spend of what you love, and you get this extra title. Cool. Right? It's just the same person, same status. It's kind of like the kitab, right? It's I mean the Quran. It's a book and hikmah, right? But that's just my understanding, or I'm just trying to connect those two. I'm trying to make sense of this word. I'm still studying it, right? But in I think I delivered the point, right? So you first, we are God, we are Jehovah Witness or God Witness, right? And then we, then we become Muslims, right? Become Muslim, right? And then we become mu'min, right? To what? To become muttaqin, God conscious, right? So basically what I'm trying to say is every mu'min is a Muslim, but not every Muslim is a mu'min, right? Every mu'min is a Muslim, but not the other way around. Every Muslim already took their shahada. Whether you're a Muslim or you're not, we already take our shahada. We already did the witness, right? We witness God. Every Muslim witness God. All humanity already witness God. Okay, and every mu'min witness God, and they're Muslims, and every God conscious Mutaqi is a mu'min, a Muslim, and they witness God, right? So this is my understanding of how to become a Muslim, mu'min, God conscious. And yeah, if you guys have anything to say, any questions, I actually have two challenges. The first one, you will never find Ya ayyuha allazina aslamu, or you are Muslims, do XYZ. You will not find one command for the Muslims, right? You will not find a statement, a verse that says, do XYZ so you may become mu'mins. لَعَلَّكُمْ تَأْمِنُونَ. I find that very interesting, right? Like, wow. So it looks like for us to become Muslims and mu'mins, we have to work on ourselves, right? The Muslim, you are at peace with the universe because that's God's design, right? and then you work on your heart, you know. So remember, the minimum is do not die unless you're a Muslim, right? So work on that first. That's the minimum. And once you get there, God willing, you move forward, become a mu'min. You train, you know, you gotta work on your heart, absorb the Quran, so you know it increases in security when you read the Quran. Uh, and once you're done with that, you obey the commands, so you become God conscious, right? Uh, yeah. So let me know how I did. If you have any questions, any oh man, it's almost an hour long video. I'm so sorry, guys. Yeah. Yep. Well, I'm done. Thank you very much for listening, and peace. Actually, I have one more thing I just wanted to say. Now, I know some people will say, well, you know, there is a different words, multiple meaning definition for one word, right? So, for example, like Muslim, uh, here, because I just wanted to say this because I got an epiphany a few days ago of how to make sense of those verses. Now, if you look at this two verses, chapter 6, verse 35, and chapter 5, chapter 52, verse 38. Okay, so say sin lam mim, all right? They translate it as stairway. Now, if you look closely here, right, it's literally the same word as this one. You see that? Alif lam sin lam mim. This one is just sin lam mim without the L, without they, right? The only okay, why is it read differently, or why is it translated just differently? One is peace and one is stairway, and that is because the diacritics, right? Now, I don't believe in the diacritics. The oldest Quran, bringing manuscript. I always misspell this word. Like I give no effort. If you look at the oldest Quran, right, that we have right now, it doesn't have diacritics. There is no diacritics. You see that? It's dotted. Yeah, you can see dots. This is a te لكلمته لكلمته لكلمته. Probably mispronouncing that word. Uh, there is one here that I can actually read. Oh man. Okay, maybe not. But it's dotted. Okay, the point is it is dotted, but we can't see the dots here because you know it gets the friction, whatever, gets erased with time. Um, Bethua, is that Bethua? Labethua cover. Right? It's dotted, but there is no diacritics. So meaning that if we would be reading this Quran, we would not notice a difference between this word and this word, right? Because the diacritics, you see how there's like three whatever these are, and only two up here and one down there, right? Those did not exist during the prophet time, right? Those were added later to, you know, for me, I think they're added because to make the Quran sounds poetic or rhyme, right? They're also added in the Bible, the Arabic Bible, to to make it rhyme, right? To make it sound spiritual or whatever, right? So here I wouldn't translate this as stairway. I would translate it as peace, right? Now I recently changed my definition. It used to be, you know, an instrument of peace. Actually, I need to show you what the verse say. Um, or or have they a stairway, parenthesis, into heaven upon which they listen? Then they let their listener produce a clear authority, right? Now they say, okay, a lot of people will say, well, you know, it's obvious it's stairway because it's talking about heaven. The heaven here is forced, but they borrow it from the other verse where it says ladder, سلمة في السماء, سلمة in the heaven, right? Right? Because, okay, this verse says, and if their evasion and if their evasion is difficult for you, then if you are able to seek a tunnel, right, into earth. So this must mean a stairway in the sky to bring them a sign, right? Whatever that is. Now I translate these two words as, peace, or do they have peace in heaven? And just a few days ago, it actually hit me because verse chapter 72, or is it 74? Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. The jinn. Okay, chapter 72, verse, was it 6? No, 7. Oh man, I am not prepared. And they thought, God. Okay, if you read the beginning of chapter 72, the jinns are talking, right? They are saying, okay, say, Muhammad, I have been revealed to me that a group of jinns listened and said, indeed, we have heard an amazing Quran, right? And it guides to the right course, and we believe in it, blah, 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 blah. Sorry, Lord, I'm just trying to miss. And among the righteous, among us are righteousness, salihun. Salihun means people who recompensate, like they did something wrong and they try to fix it, right? Doesn't mean righteous. You see how lazy they are with abr, mutaqin, and salihun just become righteousness? Like, come on, man. Put some effort in. Sorry. And when we heard the guidance, come on, where is it? Give me a second. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. Is this working? Yes. Okay. And here, chapter 72, verse 8, and we have sought the heaven, but found it filled with powerful guards and burning flames. Right? Look at this. And we used to sit therein in possession for hearing, but whoever listens now will find a burning flame lying in wait for him. Now, does that sound peaceful to you? Does that sound like a peaceful event or a peaceful place you want to be in? Right? Here, and we have, okay, sorry, or, okay, let's just make comparison here. Or have they, okay, for me, I would say peace, right? Upon which they listen, right? Then let their listener produce a clear authority. Because guess what? If they tried, they will find a burning flame lying in wait for them. So my understanding of the word salam, or every word that has the root of sin, lam, mim, should be centralized around peace, right? And my understanding complements this verse. So this is for the people who I know, if they're watching this, they know what I'm talking about, because they always use this verse against me. They're like, oh, look, salam is the root words for salam, stairway or ladder, because that's how we say it in Arabic. Ladder, salam, is peace. So you can't say one word, one definition. But I recently discovered this 2 days ago. That's why my videos are so late, because I'm always like learning something new, or like, oh, I need to make a note of this or whatever. So yeah, I just wanted to point this out. Right. So I believe that the root words, okay, no matter what the word is, it should have one definition as long as it shares the same root, right? Sim, lam, mim is always peace. It's whatever word, it doesn't matter how you pronounce it, it has to be centralized around peace. Okay, that is all. Thank you very much for listening.